Number two, I actually missed a question with my Transformers video, so I have to ask another question about Transformers. And no, not IDW. Don't give me a hard time. I don't do IDW. Not for Transformers and G.I. Joe. So, if you guys remember a scene in Transformers the movie where all the Decepticons are stuck on Astro Tray and they're barely making it through space. Like their Astro Train's doing this shit. Well, inside there's a fight going on over leadership. All right, and it goes off with Soundwave superior, Devastator inferior, and so Devastator is supposed to be the most powerful of the Decepticons until Bruticus and Predaking came along, and whoever the fuck the Stunticons are. I think they might be Bruticus. No, I think Bruticus is all military weapons. Anyway, whatever. Irrelevant. What is relevant is that if you remember the fight, how big is the inside of a fucking space shuttle? The six Constructicons can merge into Devastator and fight two little power-driven motherfuckers, Frenzy and Rumble. And just how strong are they, plus Soundwave, to shake these motherfuckers apart inside of a fucking space shuttle? We all know that up the scale, Devastator's fucking gigantic compared to the rest of the Decepticons and the Autobots. Now you can tell me how the fuck they fit into a space shuttle in Devastator form to take on Soundwave, Rumble, and Frenzy. And how strong is Rumble and Frenzy, who put on their power drivers and pound the space shuttle until all of Devastator crumbles apart back into the six little devastating little robots? That's some shit that I've never figured out. Here's another question for you Transformers fans, because somebody has to explain to me. Dead skin again. When Megatron transforms, and you know most Autobots and Decepticons are towering over humans, but how does Megatron shrink when he transforms into a cannon? Not Galvatron, but he's a hand cannon, a Luger. How does he transform from being way up here and transforms into a gun big enough for Starscream to hold? But he's towering above Starscream when he's in robot mode. How do they shrink? Is there like a shrinking cog inside of the Transformers? Because you've noticed like all the Transformers, like when they're in vehicle modes, their vehicles are pretty normal size. And when they transform, you know, like the average Volkswagen is the size of my Honda Civic. So when it transforms, Bumblebee's what? Maybe 6.5 feet tall, maybe 8 feet at the smallest. Because a Volkswagen really isn't that big. And Bumblebee really isn't that big when you have him standing next to Spike and Cliffjumper. Because unless Spike's like over 6 feet tall, which we never really confirmed how tall Spike actually is, or how tall Sparkplug is, and we know Daniel's a kid, so Daniel's like my size. Anyway, Spike is like right here, and Bumblebee's like just a little higher, and Cliffjumper and Bumblebee roughly are the same size. I same with Brawn and Huffer and all, not maybe not Huffer, but Brawn and the other little rig, and the blue and yellow guy, and Beachcomber, all those like smaller Transformers. How do the fuck the Decepticons seem to be the only ones I think that do this, but the Decepticons will shrink. They'll be like massive, right? And then like the time that Spike found the camera, there was three Decepticons. I forgot their names, but there were three Decepticons, and Spike found them. It was a camera that fit in his hand, and when he took them wherever they were, they transformed and they were fucking massive, bigger than Spike anyway. How the fuck do they do that? And again, how strong is Frenzy and Rumble that they can take down Devastator? After seeing Devastator rip a piece of a wall out and throw it through Autobot City. Alright, now I'm 50 years old. And when you're a kid, you don't think about these little logical things. But they they then on the space shuttle, which again, you see how big Devastator is when they were on Earth. How small did Devastator get to get into the shuttle and have the fucking rumble? Please excuse the clusterfuck that's happening in the background. I'm not gonna stop this video. Anyway, how does this shit happen? Why does it seem like the Decepticons have a glitch that the Autobots don't have? Alright? And then if you go back and you start watching like Beast Wars and you see how big the Autobots and Decepticons are compared to the Maximals and the Terracons, and you're like, what the fuck? That's why I said, if you put them together, it'll make sense. All right, because we all know that the Transformers are older than dirt. All of them, they're older than fucking dirt. Somehow, the robot brought the wrong guys back to life first. The Decepticons, clearly being idiots, got their shit together and got the fuck up out. They ain't think about, well, this if this worked for us, if we smash it, the Autobots are done. No, but they didn't do that. But when you go watch the arcs of Beast Wars, Optimus Primal gets Optimus Prime's Matrix, knowing that they're two different entities now. Because, you know, a lot of people thought that Optimus Primal was our Optimus Prime from G1, but he's not. Optimus Prime from G1 was probably still alive doing the Headmaster and the Target Master stuff, because at the end of the last season of Transformers, they had Headmasters and Target Masters. I don't remember if Daniel ever got cured, so they never went back to Earth. They had to deal with those light, like, tan, yellow people, whoever was on that planet, because they split into Headmasters and Target Masters. Prime became a Power Master, because you had Headmasters, Target Masters, and then you had Power Master Optimus Prime, where his grill became a robot who hooked into his thing. And I don't even remember how the hell that worked. But Springer was a Headmaster, RC was a Headmaster, and two other people were Headmasters. Optimus was the only Power Master, and everybody else became Target Masters. They even have a song, Power Master Optimus Prime, greatest leader of his time. I believe he also gave the Matrix back to Hot Rod, making him Rodimus, so Rodimus could lead Earth. And don't fact check me on that, because I'm pretty sure I'm probably wrong. Memories and headcanon sometimes merge, because they went off into the deepest parts of space and became Power Masters and Target Masters. That's how all that shit happened. And the Earth and Cybertron Transformers were on this side, because, you know, you have Earth, it's like the center of the universe. You have Cybertron way over here in a different damn universe. Well, another galaxy, but same universe. And then you have the Power Masters and Target Masters in the deepest, darkest parts of a whole different galaxy, but still in the same universe. Why is it that only the Decepticons transform into convenient things and can shrink, but the Autobots don't? So somebody who's a Transformer enthusiast or historian, please let me know. And how many eons are the Transformers? Because they're not, well, they might be centuries, actually. How many centuries old are the Transformers? And we're not going with IDW lore. We're only going with Marvel lore. And only Marvel Comics lore. Alright? Hasbro and Marvel. We're only going with them. We're not going into IDW and the 13 Primes, because that shit was fucking ridiculous. I'm sorry. I don't hate IDW. I just hate what they did with Transformers and G.I. Joe. Other than that, I can support IDW. I just can't support those two comics. I'm sorry. You've ruined Transformers for me and G.I. Joe for the rest of my life. But thank you. You guys do good comics. It's just that you retcon Transformers and got rid of the Quintessons and all that other shit. Yeah, we're done. Anyway, how is it that the Decepticons can transform and shrink and grow, but the Autobots all seem to have the same thing, except like maybe Blaster, because Blaster's a boombox, and maybe Perceptor, because he's a fucking a telescope. I think that's what they call it. Is it a telescope? I don't know what the hell Perceptor. Let me find out. Microscope. He's a microscope. It's a telescope. You look into space. Perceptor didn't really look into space. He was a microscope, because you had the little thing and you put the thing on there, and the actual toy was an actual part of a microscope as well, and it just transformed. If you actually had the original 1G, G1 rather, Perceptor. So, besides him and Blaster, the Dinobots didn't shrink, Wheelie didn't shrink, Blur didn't shrink, Cup didn't shrink, because they were all fucking cars. Yo, bots didn't shrink. None of the Autobots really shrank into anything. But the Decepticons, Soundwave, he became a tape player. The camera, the three twins, triplets, whatever, they became a small camera. Both of them have been found by humans because Spike put the camera into the Autobot base. A construction worker had Soundwave and it released Ravage, and Ravage was chasing everybody and everything. Who the fuck else does it? It's basically the Decepticons, and the Decepticons that do shrinking things. Megatron, he does it. You never see Shockwave transform to a smaller guy. Shockwave transforms into a big ass cannon. Galvatron transforms into a big ass cannon. But every like convenient things like cassette tapes and shit, the Decepticons did that shit. The only Autobots that basically had that was Perceptor and Blaster in their tapes. But other than that, the Decepticons, they somehow, I guess, had the shrinking mechanism, shrinking cog something, where they could transform into something this big. And then while they're this size, they transform into something bigger than me. No, because we all know that Ravage turned into a big ass fucking dog. But then he would shrink and turn into a tape. Same thing with Laserbeak, Ratbat, the other bird, all that shit. I'm like, yo, does anybody ever think, why is that never explained? And finally, because I've asked this before, I'll ask it again. Why do the Cybertronians need air in said situation where Rodimus, aka Hot Rod, is being choked by Galvatron in the actual Transformers the movie? Somebody explain all those questions to me. I'm Echo Fangry Wolf. This is Comfy Hour number 2. Be, see, and heal.